this firsthand. I showed him the list, and he's
preparing for a Western invasion.
The story begins in 2005. David Packouz is a struggling massage therapist in Miami, spending his days massaging wealthy clients for low pay while searching for a way to make a better life for himself. With barely enough money to get by, he tries to launch a business selling luxury bed sheets to nursing homes, believing it to be an untapped market that will bring him financial success. But no one buys. His girlfriend is pregnant. David starts feeling trapped in a cycle he can't escape. Then, out of nowhere, he receives a call from Efraim Diveroli, an old high school friend who disappeared years ago but has now returned to Miami, flashing money and success like it's nothing. David meets him for lunch, and as they sit down, Efraim explains that he has built a thriving business selling military weapons and ammunition to the U.S. government, using a loophole that allows small businesses to compete for lucrative defense contracts that the big companies ignore. David listens, intrigued but skeptical, until Efraim tells him that the business is completely legal and, more importantly, highly profitable, with the potential to turn them both into millionaires in no time. David, desperate for financial security, jumps in, quickly learning the system and helping Efraim find overlooked contracts that they can bid on and flip for enormous profits. Their first big deal comes soon after, when they secure a contract to supply Beretta pistols to the U.S. military in Iraq, a relatively simple deal that requires them to purchase the weapons from Italy and arrange for them to be shipped to Baghdad. Everything seems to be going smoothly, until they receive news that Italy has banned the export of firearms to active war zones, immediately freezing the shipment and threatening to destroy the deal before it even begins. Efraim, however, refuses to give up, and without hesitation, he arranges for the guns to be rerouted through Jordan, where no one asks questions and no laws prevent the shipment from being completed. The pistols make it to Baghdad, the contract is fulfilled, and AEY collects its first major payday, walking away with a staggering $300,000 in profit, an amount that is more money than David has ever seen in his life. From that moment, he is hooked. As the business grows, Efraim moves AEY into a larger office, hiring a team of employees to skin government contracts around the clock, searching for more deals that can bring in millions of dollars in profit. David, now engaged to starts spending extravagantly, moving into a high-end Miami Beach apartment, driving luxury cars. Then one day they come across something massive, a $300 million contract to supply the U.S. military with over 100 million rounds of AK-47 ammunition for troops in Afghanistan, one of the largest contracts ever put up for open bidding. It's a deal that no one else wants to touch, too big and too complicated for smaller companies to handle. But Efraim, hungry for even greater success, insists that they go for it, believing that if they can pull it off, AEY will go from a small-time operation to a global powerhouse overnight. Against all odds, they win the contract, securing a deal that will make them rich beyond their wildest dreams. But now, they need to figure out how to actually deliver the massive shipment of ammunition. With no options left in the U.S., David reaches out to Henry Girard, a notorious arms dealer with deep connections and a history of supplying weapons to war zones across the world. Henry, intrigued by the deal, tells them that he can get them the ammunition they need, but there's a catch. The stockpile is located in Albania, stored in Soviet-era warehouses, and has been sitting there for decades, untouched and forgotten. David and Efraim, eager to close the deal, fly to Albania to inspect the stockpile, where they find millions of rounds of AK-47 ammunition, all in perfect working condition and ready to be shipped. It's the perfect deal. There's only one problem. The ammunition is packaged in crates labeled "Made in China," which immediately makes it illegal to sell to the U.S. military under federal law. If they get caught, the entire deal will be ruined, and they could face federal charges. Efraim, refusing to let anything get in the way of their payday, decides on a solution. They will repackage the ammunition, stripping off the Chinese markings and sending it in plain, unmarked crates, making it impossible to trace back to its origin. David is hesitant, knowing this could land them in serious trouble, but Efraim reassures him that it's just a technicality, a small lie in otherwise legitimate business deal, and eventually, David goes along with it. The shipments begin with the first deliveries arriving in Afghanistan, and the U.S. military, unaware of the deception, paying AEY millions of dollars for each completed shipment. For a while, everything is perfect. The business is booming, the money is flowing, and David and Efraim feel untouchable. Then, Efraim makes a fatal mistake. In an effort to keep even more of the profits, he decides to cut Henry Girard out of the deal, refusing to pay him the commission he was promised. David knows immediately that this is a dangerous move, as Henry is not the kind of man to cross, but Efraim doesn't care, laughing off the warning and assuring David that everything will be fine. It isn't. Soon after, the FBI gets involved, launching an investigation after a whistleblower reports the illegal repackaging of Chinese ammunition, triggering a federal case against AEY. One morning, David wakes up to the sound of pounding on his door, opening it to find federal agents ready to arrest him as the government seizes AEY's accounts and shuts down the company overnight. Efraim, in full denial, believes they can lie their way out of the situation, but David knows there's no way out. Facing serious prison time, he's given a choice: testify against Efraim and cooperate with the investigation, or go to prison for years. Without hesitation, David takes the deal. Efraim is sentenced to 4 years in federal prison, while David, having cooperated, walks away a free man. But the real arms dealers? They never get caught. The lesson of war dogs. David Packouz wasn't a criminal, at least not at first. But money has a way of changing people, turning small risks into massive fraud and blurring the line between what is legal and what is simply a loophole waiting to be exploited. One small contract became another, one minor deception became a crime, and before they knew it, they were playing in a world where only the truly ruthless survive. And when the government finally came down on them, only one of them paid the price. Because in the arms business, the real winners don't go to prison. They just move on to the next war.